the way. Okay, I have tea. Wow. Yeah, is it? It's 100%. Okay, as good as we can get. Yeah, it's 459. Boom. And we're a minute away. Depending on which clock you look at.
This call may be recorded or transcribed.
Thank you for joining us here on Discoveries in Health. And we're just letting a few people come into the room before we get started. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us here on Discoveries in Health. We're just getting started, giving people a chance to come into the room. And thank you for joining us here on Discoveries in Health. And it looks like it. We'll give folks another minute to finish coming into the room and sit down and get a cup of tea. And we're going to talk about herbal remedies. We don't prescribe, we don't diagnose. We are talking about food and supporting your body with a good diet. And that's what we talk about here. Thank you for joining us here on Discoveries in Health. We're just getting started, and here we go. Bishop Dr. Truman. Shepherd Monasteries. And thank you for joining us here on Discoveries in Health. We're going to have an opening prayer here in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and join YouTube. And here we are on YouTube. Thank you, folks on YouTube, for joining us here on Discoveries in Health. This is Bishop Dr. Truman Burst. Burst. Coming to you from Good Shepherd Ministries. And welcome to Discoveries in Health, Bishop Dr. Truman Burst from Good Shepherd Ministries since 1999. And we're talking about herbs. We're not prescribing, we're not diagnosing. And if you have a question, please don't make it about yourself. Just make it about the topic. If you want to talk about diet, well, we'll talk about diet, but let's not talk about diet for you or for a person, because that offends some people in the media, and we don't want to offend anyone in the media. So we are careful what we say and what we do. That's what you do these days. You learn to tiptoe around and not offend anybody. And that's what we are attempting to do here. And the telephone number to join us, the telephone number to call me, actually, anytime you need to call me, is 503-362-5899. You can leave images, text messages. It's a computer telephone. So be sure and call me if you have any questions, or if you'd like to become a member of the Herbal Health Review, and be able to have a username and a password to view all the reports and all the information, that you can do that as well. Anyway, that's what we're doing here. Let's get over and get an opening prayer and get to talking about natural remedies. Well, you know what we always do here is we always make sure that we have on the whole body armor of God. The whole armor of God. Yes, we need the whole armor of God every day. We're constantly under attack. And as it says in Ephesians 6:10-18, King James Version, in Jesus Christ's name we pray. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. And above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance, with supplication for all saints. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. We come praising and worshiping and thanking the Most High God in Jesus Christ's name. We come receiving his love, his mercy, his forgiveness, his kindness, his complete, continuous, endless, and limitless blessing of prosperity and health and love and peace. We receive for the glory and for the victory of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus Christ's name, we receive. So be it. Amen. And with that wonderful prayer, let's go to the microphones. If anyone over there in the dial pad meetings has a topic or a suggestion or something they'd like to learn or talk about today, please press your star key on your microphone or on your telephone. Press your star key 2 times on your telephone. It will unmute your mic, and that means you'd like to ask me to talk about something. I don't see any mics coming open at the moment, but anytime during the next 2 hours, if you have a question, please open your mic. And I do see an open mic. And what would you like to talk about today?
Okay, it's just a quick question. I wanted to know, are there updates for Better Health Herbs, and when will the ED coming back on at all? I asked that question, I think, a couple months ago.
Yeah, Health and Herbs is having. I'm glad you asked that question, because Health and Herbs is having a problem getting their new credit processing company hooked up. In the meantime, you need to email them, and the best email to reach Health and Herbs is healthherbs31@gmail.com. That's healthherbs, HEALTHHERBS 31@gmail.com. That's the best number to reach them by email. Then they can help you get your order, because they'll take your order by bank wire transfer, by Cash App, by Apple Pay. They'll find a way to make sure and help you, but that's how you need to reach them while they're getting some things hooked up here. That's healthherbs31@gmail.com is the way to reach Health Herbs. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. And that being said, let's get started over here. Let's go over to herbalhealthreview.com, the website, herbalhealthreview.com. I'm over here. I'm on the website, and it says, welcome to Herbal Health Review. And so, okay. And now that I'm over here, and I'm going to go over here, and there we are. We're on the herbalhealthreview.com website, and when we're on this website, let's take a look at my book, which is you get an introduction here when you click on herbal descriptions. So when you click on herbal descriptions, it takes you into an introduction to my book. Now, my book has a lot of herbal remedies in it, and it talks all about herbal tinctures and how to use herbal tinctures. It talks about single herbs, and there's a lot of single herbs. This is the largest selection of single herb medicine of any herb company in America, right here. And formulations for about everything. Single herbs, specialized products, oils, essential oils. Special formulations, tincture formulations. Now, that's the most difficult thing to do, is to combine one herb with another herb so that they're both more powerful than they started out being, because you've combined and you've given them help. Okay. And when you do that, those are tincture formulations. And I've been able to create some of the longest chain tincture formulations ever created by any herbalist at any time. I mean, I've got tincture formulations that are 30, 40 herbs combined together in a formulation. That is a balancing that's balancing the herbs, and each one synergistically helping the other herb, and you got a powerhouse when you hook up about 30 or 40 herbs. I can tell you that. It's kind of like uh, uh, it's kind of like horses. The more horses you got to pull a wagon, the faster you're going to go, and the easier it's going to be on each horse. Uh, so so let's get over here to tincture formulations. I've been describing how these formulations work, which I've never seen an herbalist do that. Describe uh, formulations. We described skin formula. We described ADHD formula. We described herbs for adrenals and hypoglycemia. And last week we described allergies. And uh, and we have described anemia. Let us describe the greatest natural antibiotic formulation that you can find as a natural antibiotic. Now, those kinds of herbs as a natural antibiotic, that really those herbs have to be powerful, but yet friendly to the body. Now, herbs have been used to support acne, autoimmune diseases, to support people who are going through cancer, to support people who have chicken pox, cold sores. Herbs are foods, and we need foods, the correct foods, when we have things like cold sores, colds, colitis, diphtheria, earaches, infection, fever, hypoglycemia, infection, inflammation, lupus, lymphatic disorders, meningitis, menstrual problems, profuse flow, pneumonia, prostate problems, skin disorders, sore throat, tonsillitis, tumors, and venereal disease. We need to know what foods support us while we're going through those kinds of disorders. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about those foods. Now, the ingredients in a formulation that has withstood the time, and people absolutely love this formulation, and you recognize these herbs, except maybe one. You're going to recognize echinacea, golden seal root, poke root, and cayenne, because that is a powerful natural support when you need herbs to support times when there are infections. This is a supportive herbal formulation. And why it is, let's take a look at echinacea. Let's go now to the single herbs and and look at single herbs. And when we're looking at single herbs in this list, then we're going down A, B, C, D until we get to echinacea. And now we explained this, I believe, last week. Echinacea was also a part of the formulation that we talked about for allergies. And so, and here it is again, one of the greatest herbs that is a great food and supportive when there are infections. And here's why. Here's the research on echinacea angustifolia. Echinacea angustifolia. It's one of the most popular herbs in America today. Echinacea is a Native American medicinal plant. It's named for the prickly scales. The prickly scales in its large conical seed head, which resembles the spines of an angry hedgehog, and therefore in Greek, they gave it the name echinos. Echinos is the Greek word for hedgehog, and that's how echinacea got its name. It's a Greek word, echinose. And Echinacea angustifolia, the origin of the herb. You can get great echinacea from the USA. And other known names, well, it's got a lot of names like American coneflower and a black Samson root and black Susans and Bruneria and Angustifolia, Bruneria pallida, etc. Well, a lot of different names, but we're not can't go into all of them. Even has one of the names is snake root. That's a strange name. And then purple coneflower. But anyway, the nutrients in echinacea that make it such a valuable food when there is an infection is it's loaded with calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, niacin, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, silicon, zinc, vitamins A, B1, B2, B3, C, and E. It's loaded with vitamins. And the therapeutic actions, scientifically, what they're saying, the science behind it, and if you want to know what these terms mean, there are a glossary of terms. And it looks like I've got Lorna up here. Hi, Lorna. It looks like you've been muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. I don't know if I can. Doesn't look like it. How can I do that?
Hello, Dr. Truman. I'm here listening in.
Hi, Lorna. Did you have any kind of a question, topic, or suggestion?
Not right now. I'm just listening in. It's all interesting and very informative. So not at the moment.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for joining us from the UK. And
Thank you.
And I'll get back to it here. So we're talking about a food that is used when there are infections to support the body. And the reasons why is because scientifically they're characterized as an adaptogen, an antibiotic, antiviral, alternative, antiseptic, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, astringent, anti-allergenic, carminative, depurative, diaphoretic, digestive, immune stimulant, siligagu, stings, stimulant, tonic, and evolutionary. And if you don't understand those terms, then what you do is you go back up to the herbal descriptions and you look at the glossary of terms. And that describes all of those different terms so that you'll be able to understand the herbal language. That's the herbal language, and that's the glossary of terms, and that is listed there as well. So there's your glossary of terms, and now you know what those things will mean, or you will know. And so we know that it's loaded with nutrients, that it has a lot of therapeutic actions, and the internal uses it's been deemed, echinacea has been deemed the king of all blood purifiers. That's huge. That's a huge statement, but that's its reputation. Okay, and all I can do is cite what I read. Okay, and now that may offend some people because they don't want you to recite anything that they don't agree with, and if they don't like herbs, then that's not then that doesn't work, does it? Anyway, that's it. It's been deemed the king of blood purifiers. It's considered a valuable alternative to antibiotics. And this herb has very strong immune activating abilities. So that's its reputation. Okay, that's its reputation. Echinacea, as a blood cleanser, it is used for skin disorders such as boils and abscesses, and it's famous for its use with treating snake bites. And it has also been used for cleansing the lymphatic system. It's been used when there are fevers, blood poisoning, carbuncles, peritonitis, syphilitic conditions, bites, stings, gangrenous conditions, and diphtheria and tonsillitis and pus formations. Okay, that's when it's been used as a food to support people when they have those kinds of conditions. You notice I did not say cure, and I know that makes the evil people mad because they wish I would say cure so that they could ban this broadcast like they normally do. But I'm not. But I'm not saying that. This is a food, and it's supportive, and that's what I'm saying. So, I'm really, it kind of gets me to where I do these broadcasts and I help a lot of people, and I get a lot of good general information out, and then somebody misrepresents what I say and says and tells me that I've and tries to tell me that I've made some kind of a claim or something, and I'm not claiming anything. I'm citing historical traditional information. The external uses for echinacea, well, they really don't have external uses for echinacea. And other uses, well, it's been used. Echinacea has been used according to this the scientific research. It's been used when there's contagious diseases. It's been used when there's ear infections, eczema, emphysema, sore gums, immune deficiency, prostate gland, bronchitis, canker sores, cold sores, gingivitis. It's been used as a food to support those with HIV and people with vaginitis and yeast infection. Those are the times when echinacea has been used according to the scientific information. Is there any drug interactions? Well, echinacea supports interaction of econazole. Econazole, so you want to check if on any chemotherapy drugs further, okay? And that's it. That's what you want to know about it. That supports an interaction if someone's on econazole and you want to check on any chemotherapy drugs further. That's what it's telling us. And the suggested dosage is about 300 milligrams of the herb every 2 hours for the first day of illness. So every 2 hours, you're taking 300 milligrams of echinacea, which is about a half a dropper full, okay? And you're doing that every 2 hours for the first day of any illness to be supportive. Then on the second day, we're going to go 3 times a day, and we're only going to use echinacea and this natural formulation called Ant B. We're only going to use it for 7 to 10 days because you don't use natural antibiotic support food for more than 7 to 10 days. Then you use a different one for 7 to 10 days. Then you can go back to the same one. So if you use echinacea for 7 to 10 days, then you could use something like myrgum for 7 to 10 days. Then you could go back to echinacea again for 7 to 10 days until you got the results you're looking for. Prolonged and continuous use is not recommended. So you want to alternate. You want to alternate, and every 7 to 10 days, and every 2, you want to make sure you're using astragalus root. as one of your good alternates too, because it's a good alternate. Astragalus is a good immune boosting food. Okay, so that's a little bit about the first herb in one of the greatest natural antibiotic supportive herbs ever invented. People tell me, I've been using that same formulation for about 60 years, and it's absolutely fabulous, and people love it. So if you're looking for a formulation like that, well, that's what that's. And now the thing about this is, you want to be able to go on the website, herbal health. You want to go on the website and type in 3341, because that's its stock number. It's in my book. It's in my book. It's number 3341 is the number. And okay, that's it. That's all you need. There's that'll get you there. So that's the first herb. And let's go back now to the formulations, tincture formulations. And we're back at tincture formulations, and we're back looking at that antibiotic formulation. There it is, antibiotic. And it's made, by the way, it's made in separate different ways. It's got 3 different versions of that same formulation. But here it is, antibiotic formula. And we're talking about this formulation that is made with the ingredients echinacea and golden seal root, poke root, and cayenne. Well, now when you take the echinacea and you add golden seal root, here's what you're getting. Let's go down now to golden seal root, and it's a single herb. So we're going to click on single herbs on the website, and let's see if we can get to golden seal. Let's see if it goes that far. It may not. And I think I've got an open mic over here. Let's go check on it. And I do. Area code 407. Do you have a question or a topic or a suggestion?
Yes, hello.
Yes. What would you like? What would you like to learn today?
Okay, so I am a cancer survivor, and I'm taking a tincture pill called tamoxifen, and I've read on several sites where using the use of turmeric is something that works against the medicine.
So you're saying that turmeric works against what medication?
Tamoxifen.
Amoxicillin.
It's tamoxifen. It's a medication that's designed to increase the estrogen in women with breast cancer.
Okay. So tamoxifen. And you're saying that turmeric interferes with the tamoxifen?
Yes, yes.
Oh, let's go find out. Let's go take a look and see if that's worth it. Let's see if there's okay. And that's the thing. See, that's why you want to take herbs and medications 2 hours apart. And
okay.
Right. And then if you still have if it's still indicated that you shouldn't be taking it at all, then you really shouldn't. Then they're very they're antagonistic to each other. But that's what we always encourage people to do, is to make sure that whatever herb, whatever natural foods you're taking, let's keep our foods, natural foods and natural medicines away from drugs 2 hours before, 2 hours after. And then but if you do the research and it says that that it's contraindicated, then you don't want to use it at all.
Don't use that at all.
Right. Because if it says it's contraindicated and you should not be using it, then even 2 hours before or 2 hours after, then you don't want to use it. But most,
Okay.
yeah, and there are contraindications with herbs, with foods, and drugs.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there any other question?
Yeah, well, anything else that you can suggest, that's gonna help with me, keeping, myself a lot healthier so that the tumors don't like reappear and stuff like that.
Okay, of course, I can't talk about what is for you, but I can talk about when there are tumors, one of the greatest herbs and foods that support people with tumors is mushrooms. Have you heard about mushrooms that are very supportive to people with tumors? Have you heard of that?
Mushrooms? Okay, yes, I have.
Yes, yes. So Health and Herbs makes one called six different mushrooms, and they're very powerful, and that is a very powerful formulation. As a matter of fact, I keep a bottle of that right here with me all the time. I've always got a bottle of the mushrooms.
What's the sauce? What's the sauce?
Six mushrooms, number 1315. Number 1315 mushrooms. Yeah, mushrooms times six. Great stuff. I mean, because these are really powerful immune support herbs. Love it. Woo! Powerful. Okay. Is there any other question?
No, another question. No, I have a problem in using the bathroom, bowel movement.
If
I
there's
just had a colonoscopy done, and it was fine. However, I'm not having it. I don't have the urge.
You keep talking about you, ma'am, you keep talking about yourself, and it's illegal for anybody in America to help to answer your questions. Did you know that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Welcome to America. Used to be, it used to be so great, you didn't have to worry about those things, but now it's not so great. You do have to worry about those kinds of things. So yeah, let's talk about a health disorder, but let's not talk about a person, because I don't want to offend anybody, or okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So if there is constipation, then you want to know about a tea called CACT. You want to know about that CACT. And let's go take a look up here if I can get up on the internet. On my way over here. Let's go to Better Health Herbs. They make it. I don't get anything from the sale of any product. I'm not selling products. The only thing I get is a donation, and I don't get enough donations to really do what I want to do. What I want to do is get this system out and help a whole lot of people, but I've never had the financial ability to do that. And I take my Social Security and every penny I ever make, and what I do is I help people with it. And guess what? There's just never enough money, because there are so many people who are so poor. I wind up helping people for practically nothing all day long. And it's a labor of love for Jesus Christ, and I'm never going to quit doing it. But there's no money in what I'm doing. But I'm begging for donations, and I'm praying that someday somebody with a lot of money will go ahead and professionalize this system, so that I can get it out to more people, instead of having to work 7 days a week, 8-10 hours every single day in order to help people. It's exhausting, I don't have any assistance. I have no assistant at all. I do everything. If you make a donation, I'm the one that sends you the thank you note. And if you don't make a donation, I'm the one that calls you, contacts you back and begs you to make a donation so I can help you. And that's what I do. I do it all day long. But I'm really praying that someday with a whole bunch, somebody with a whole bunch of money is going to say, I'm going to help Truman to help all these people. And we're going to put a team of people together to help Truman to do this. And we're really going to help a lot of people. But in the meantime, I just have to work night and day to make sure everybody gets help. And it's a labor of love for Jesus Christ, and there's no complaint. Okay. So that's it. So what I'm looking for now is I'm going up on betterhealthherbs.com website. And when I'm up here on betterhealthherbs.com website, I'm looking for a tea that they make that I created 50, 60 years ago. And it's called CACT. And I'm on my way and I'm looking for it. And now there it is. And now it is CACT. Because when you drink this tea, the CACT, it gets rid of constipation.
Okay.
And let's see here. I'm on my way. I'm looking for it. CACT. Here it is. It's number 4110 when you're on the website betterhealthherbs.com. It's 4110 in their search engine, and it's called CACT. And you brew up this tea and you put 3 or 4 quarts of it in the refrigerator. Every morning you come out and you make yourself a cup of, you heat up a cup of this tea, or a half a cup or whatever, or 2 cups, whatever amount it takes, so that you're able to easily go to the bathroom. The other thing is when there is constipation, is to make sure that you find out about, where is it? Here it is. Magnesium. Take magnesium, like a magnesium citrate, about 400 milligrams, and you start with maybe 400 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day, and you increase the magnesium citrate until you easily can go to the bathroom, because it relaxes every muscle in your body and it gets rid of cramps. A lot of people have cramping when they're laying there at night, and all of a sudden, about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, they're all cramping up, and they got to get out of bed and run around the room because they're all cramped up. They need more magnesium. You got to teach. So you got to find out how much magnesium you need. You take the CACT. That helps you to have a softer bowel movement. So and then if to balance things out, a lot of times people use a fiber product. So they're driving their bowel movement towards very, very soft. Then they're using enough of that number 4837 fiber with psyllium husk, super green food, and bentonite clay. They're using that to thicken the bowel movement, and it's absorbing all the toxins and things they want to get rid of. And that makes a perfect cleansing program. So just know that there's a kit where you get the CACT with the fiber. Okay. And if you wanted the CACT kit, let's see what that would be. I think it's like, let's see if that works. CAC parasite. Hold on, I'm almost there. Weight loss, diabetes tea. They make a lot of stuff. pregnancy, liver support, cleansing here it is. That would to get the two of them together, the tea and the fiber, that's number 4488. It's called Cleansing Program with bentonite clay dry. But that's what people are using, and it's helping them with that kind of a problem. Is there any other question?
No, not time.
Okay. Thank you very much for asking that question. All right. And okay, and do you have a question over there in Nita? Do you have a question? Your microphone is open.
I have a question.
Oh, you have a question. Okay. Travis, you go ahead. What is your question?
Nita's actually my mom. She's the one who told me about you. But this is what comes from what you were talking about, mushrooms, the 6 mushrooms together that you take.
Yes.
Or that you say you always have a bottle with you. What's the proper dosage, per mushroom, to where you're actually feeling the benefits from it?
About a half a dropper full 3 times a day. On almost everything. On almost everything. But some people are so sensitive that we have to underdose them to start with. So you're going to see on the label, it's going to say start with 6 drops. That way we're protecting in people who are sensitive. But generally, so if you started with 6 drops and you got no reaction, then you're going to increase the dosage up to about 30 drops, which is about a half a dropper full. And the dosage is generally 2 to 3 times a day.
Okay, is that a specific brand that you're talking about?
Yeah. This is the people that make the formulations that I created. I created 14,000 natural remedies in 62 years. I'm 83 years old.
So is this one on your website?
That's not my website. I don't own anything. Because if I owned anything, the government would steal it.
Yes, sir. Well, I hear they good or they do something else
so I don't own anything. And I'm not a target. I'm not worth them messing with me. But there it is. Yeah, but it's called Better. It's called Better Health Herbs. That's the website, Better Health Herbs.
Okay.
And when you're up there, and when on the search engine up on the home page, type in 1315. It brings up the mushrooms.
Okay, will do. Well, I'll definitely take a look at that. But the mushroom that I'm just looking at right now is 6 different mushrooms, but it's powdered mushrooms. And it's 106 milligrams per mushroom. So I don't know if that would be the same as the one that you're talking about.
No, because this one, and see, that's the thing about it. What I created was a complete line of natural remedies, and I created a cold process of removing everything from the herb, which is called the mark, and and we get all the constituents out of it in a dry process, no heat, and that's what I created. And the only one that does this is called Better Health Herbs, and the brand is Health and Herbs.
Okay.
Then so there's nobody else does it, but they have the process, and it's my family. When the government told me that I could not do what I'm doing, that I couldn't help anybody, that I had to tear down the herbalhealthreview.com website, and that I had to stop praying with people and stop making herbal medicines, or they would put me in jail and fine me out of existence. That's what an FDA attorney told me he would do when he called me up in 2010. And my answer was, I'll call you back. I didn't call him back. I prayed over it. The Most High God said, sue the FDA. So I sued the FDA. Of course, I lost. They sued me. Of course, I lost again. Then they hauled me into federal court, and they put me before a federal judge for contempt of court. And I explained to the judge who I am, what I'm doing. And the Holy Spirit came upon the judge, and the judge went after the FDA and chastised them and told them how horrible they were and what a bad job they did for 45 minutes. Told them she was the chief federal judge of the Western United States. Her name is Ann Aiken. And Chief Federal Judge Ann Aiken told the FDA to never come back in the courtroom again, to leave me alone, to leave natural remedies alone, to go after potato chip manufacturers. And then she said, I'm going to say this again. Go after potato chip manufacturers, leave natural remedies alone, and get out of my courtroom. And call me on the telephone if you have anything else to say, because you're never coming back here. You're never filing any more paperwork. And that is the reason why this is the only system and the only medicines, the only natural herbal foods like it. It's the only thing that there is. Anybody else that does anything close to what I'm doing, they're on their way to jail, and they're going to be fined out of existence.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I hear you. I got you.
Is there any other question, brother?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. And anybody who wants to help me do what I'm doing, all you have to do is go up on that website, herbalhealthreview.com. That's the website that I created, that with all and published all the work and everything on it, but I don't own it. But I created the website. I published all the work. And when they hauled me into court and said, you can't do that, I told them I don't own it. The judge said, leave, then the judge told the FDA to leave it alone. Now that's the only website that's going to give you information that you can't get anywhere else in the world. herbalhealthreview.com. Be sure and go up on there and look at that website and become a member and support it. Please do that. And that's the only support that I get, because I get nothing from the sale of any product. So if you make a donation and become a member, then you get a username and a password, and I'm constantly updating it with the latest research and information. So and that website is telling you stuff that you're not supposed to know, which is the reason why you should know it, and the reason why you should go there. Anyway, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about an herbal formula, and we got off on another track, but that's okay. That's what we do. Now we're going back, because we were looking for golden seal. We're going back over to single herbs, and we're going down, and we were on our way to look for golden seal, which is one of the greatest antibiotic supportive herbs ever. And the golden seal is not in this list. So now I'm going to go over here and we're going to look at golden seal and see why it's in one of the greatest natural antibiotic support herbal formulas ever invented. And the reason why the golden seal is in there, and you want golden seal root. Don't let them sell you golden seal leaf. And if they're then they're bad people, because they shouldn't be selling you golden seal leaf. It's worthless. But golden seal root, the benefits of it are that European settlers adopted golden seal as a medicinal plant. And they used it for a variety of conditions. And currently, golden seal is promoted as infections and allergic rhinitis and hay fever and ulcers and digestive upsets. But here's the thing: it's a powerful herb, and you don't take it every day. You take it because high doses of golden seal also can lead, if you're going to drink the whole bottle, which you shouldn't, but it can lead to a shortness of breath and difficulty breathing, as well as extreme muscle spasms and paralysis if you took too much of it. And it attacks the nervous system. But we're not talking about taking too much of it. We're talking about an herb that's within another formulation, and you're taking a small amount. It's part of a small amount of a dosage of 4 herbs. So I'm not worried about causing this. I've in 60 years, I've never had anybody come to me and told me that they took so much golden seal that they had shortness of breath and difficulty breathing or extreme muscle spasms. It's never happened. But anybody who wants to worry, they could worry over it. An overload of golden seal for extended periods of time can lead to disorders of the digestive system, such as diarrhea and constipation. But an overdose of anything can cause the thing. So I don't know why they're getting into the negative. I'm looking for the positive. So the positive of it, they're more interested in the side effects of this valuable herb than they are in the value of it. So I'm not gonna go with that. Because it's a negative report. It's not giving you the positives. It's only focusing on the negatives. It sounds like some of the things that evil media do. And I got to open mic. Tony, when you come on, you're supposed to mute your mic. Okay. All right. Now we muted Tony's mic. So let's get over here. And let's look at a report that isn't slanted negativity with negatives. I don't like something just totally negative. I'm looking for what it does, not what it doesn't do. But what we're talking about here is Hydrastis canadensis is the botanical name for golden seal root. It's a perennial herb native to the eastern North America, as we talked about, and it has a complex mixture of substances and of chemicals such as berberine. In particular, berberine might be effective for several uses according to science, such as relieving of canker sore symptoms. Berberine can help to do that. Golden seal root is legal in most of the United States. And it's used for the common cold. A few studies have found that berberine found in golden seal may have activity against viruses and the cause of the common cold, though more research is needed. So it's valuable to know that they're looking into the fact that it could be valuable in that area. And golden seal root, respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, causes upper respiratory infections and can cause dangerous lower respiratory tract infections, especially in high-risk groups such as infants and immunocompromised people. And a 2015 study found that berberine in golden seal had significant antiviral activity against RSV, though it's important to note that this was an in vitro study, meaning it was done in a laboratory setting, and did not involve live subjects. So they're researching this because it's so valuable. And it's unknown whether berberine would have the same effect against RSV inside a human body. So just knowing that they're studying golden seal for all these uses and so forth, and because it's such a valuable and wonderful herb. Some studies have found that golden seal may be an effective way to treat urinary tract infections, UTIs. And the berberine, along with alkaloids, present in the rhizome and in the roots of the plant these rhizomes and alkaloids may prevent bacteria from adhering to the walls of the bladder. So it helped. So there's some studies that show it could be very valuable with UTIs. There's other studies. Some people use golden seal for canker sores and ulcers in the mouth. And according to the National Library of Medicine, the berberine and golden seal might relieve canker sore symptoms. A 2018 review of studies concluded that topical berberine could help relieve canker sore symptoms, although the authors noted that larger, well-designed studies are needed. And that's the thing, we all need all the studies we can get. Only a small amount of berberine is absorbed into the bloodstream when you take golden seal by mouth. This means you may not get enough berberine from golden seal for the plant to be effective. So while there are studies on berberine, these results might not apply to golden seal. Well-designed studies in humans are necessary to better evaluate golden seal's effect on cancer sores. Okay? And golden seal is sometimes used for diabetes as a food to support people who have diabetes, because the berberine in golden seal may slightly lower blood glucose sugar in people with diabetes. In fact, a review including randomized controlled trials, RCTs, suggested that berberine may reduce blood sugar levels in multiple ways, like blocking glucose absorption from your intestines. Berberine may encourage your pancreas to secrete more naturally occurring hormone called insulin. And berberine may make your muscle and fat cells more sensitive to insulin's effects, decreasing sugar levels. When you take golden seal by mouth, however, only a small amount is absorbed into your bloodstream. For this reason, results from berberine studies may not apply to golden seal. High-quality studies in humans are needed to better assess golden seal's effects on blood sugar. Golden seal as a supplement for the immune support, immune system support. A supplement as a supplement, golden seal is sometimes used to boost immunity. It is commonly combined with echinacea for the prevention of the common cold and other viral illnesses. However, there hasn't been any good scientific evidence to support this use. Okay, right. Hyper uricemia, hyperuricemia. A 2019 study looked at the use of golden seal powder in women with elevated uric acid levels, hyperuricemia. Elevated uric acid levels are associated with a type of arthritis called gout, where uric acid crystals accumulate in the joints. One study group took 5 milligrams of golden seal powder per kilogram of body weight daily for 8 weeks. A second ground took 10 milligrams of golden seal powder per kilogram body per daily for 8 weeks. A control group received no golden seal powder. At the end of the treatment period, both groups receiving the golden seal had reduced serum uric acid levels, but the group taking 10 milligrams showed a greater reduction in uric acid levels. The control group had slightly increased uric acid levels. Okay. Drug testing. Despite its reputation as an agent that can mask illegal drugs in urine, golden seal doesn't seem to work with today's lab methods. And I need some. So what are the side effects of golden seal? Like many medications and natural products, side effects are possible with golden seal. Little information is known about golden seal safety. Short-term oral by mouth golden seal use is likely safe for many adults. But since golden seal contains berberine, common side effects might be similar to this chemical, might be. So now they're hypothecating negativity, that it could be, that they don't know, but it might cause constipation and it doesn't. It might cause diarrhea. You'd have to have a lot of it. It may cause gas, but I haven't run into that problem. And I have not run into anybody having an upset stomach from it. Probably if you took if you took a massive amount of it, you could have a severe allergic reaction. So you don't take massive amounts of golden seal. So anyway, that's enough for golden seal. What you need to get out of the fact of this is what they haven't discovered yet is it is a fantastic natural support when there are colds, UTIs, or any kind of an infection. Golden seal is one of the greatest natural remedies that you can possibly find. And when you match it up and combine it with echinacea, you have a powerful herbal formula that works to support people with any kind of an infection. Now, let's get back up here. The third herb is an herb you will not find anybody else using. You won't find it out there. Everybody else is afraid to use it. They don't know how to use it. But the third herb in that formulation, that, let's get back to herbal formulations here. Special formulations, tincture, here it is, tincture formulations. Let's get back and look at this natural antibiotic support formulation. And opening this back up again, going back down to the ingredients, that third herb is poke root. Now, poke root works on the lymphatics and will move the lymphatics. Let's find out about an herb that you only want to use a very small amount. It has to be precisely the correct amount, and the precise correct amount is matched up with the echinacea and the golden seal. And let's take a look at poke root. Poke root benefits. All right, we're on our way. Okay, poke root tincture is an immune stimulant. Over the years, according to this, the benefits of poke root tincture, when I type that into the internet, it talks about poke root tincture as an immune stimulant. So that means it's good for immune support. And over the years, this person, Corina Wood, has found that poke to be invaluable as an herbal alternative to antibiotics when immune or lymphatic stimulation is needed. So this herbalist is finding that it stimulates the immune and the lymphatic. And for many generations, this plant has helped people with immune issues ranging from sore throat to supporting people with breast cancer. Okay, now those are the times that this person has used it, and what are the side effects of poke root? Okay, well, reportedly, with poke root in larger amounts, it causes nausea and vomiting, stomach cramps, diarrhea, weakness, hematemesis, hypotension, tachycardia, toxicity, prolonged vomiting and bloody diarrhea and dyspnea, muscle spasms, convulsions, death. Newell C. et al. Herbal Medicine, a guide to herbal healthcare. That's what he claims, that it in huge doses, that's what it'll cause. So far, no one has ever reported any side effect from poke root because nobody uses it. I use it in very teeny tiny doses because it stimulates the immune system in very tiny doses. And that's how it's used. And I've used it that way for over 60 years and never had a problem with it. It's fantastic when you combine that poke root with echinacea and golden seal. I mean, you have a powerhouse of support for people who need support with supporting natural antibiotics. So, pokeweed has many purported benefits, but little science to back them up. In traditional folk medicine, pokeweed stimulates the bowels and induces vomiting. In homeopathic medicine, pokeweed is used to treat tonsillitis. It is also used to treat psoriasis and eczema and suppress inflammatory immune responses, according to a study, September 20, 2022. So that's what we can use a poke for. It's an emetic and it's a purgative, and in larger doses. In small doses, it's supportive as an antibiotic, helping it has a history of being used by herbalists to support people who have rheumatism and as an immune stimulation. So that's it. That's poke root, and that's the antibiotic formulation. The last herb in there is cayenne. And what cayenne is doing in a very tiny amount of cayenne, it's a very small amount, it's warming the tissues. Cayenne you'll find in many of my formulations because it warms the tissues, opens them up, dilates them, lets the toxins out and lets the nutrients in. So it's letting the toxins out and letting all the echinacea, golden seal, procroot, and cayenne, letting it into the tissues. And I have had people have had nothing but praise for this natural antibiotic supportive formula. Nothing but praise for it. Over the past 60 years, I have not found one reason to say I'm worried about that formula. It's absolutely fabulous. And I always have it right here, just in case. See, it used to be called Aunt B. That's what it used to be called. And I always keep some on hand just in case I need it. But so far, I got plenty in my bottle because I'm not needing it. But that's it, Aunt B. And and the number, and the number is number 1018. Number 1018. These are the things I keep on hand all the time and within reach. But that's it. That is, I'm so glad to share this formulation with you because I have used this formulation so often and it's never failed me. So that is one of the greatest natural antibiotic supports is echinacea, golden seal, procroot, and cayenne. That's it. So that is a really, I'm always glad that I can let people know about that particular formulation because it's so fantastic. All right, we did that. Now let's get over here, get back to single herbs, and that's a formulation. When you get that balance, it's a powerhouse because you got the echinacea, all it will do. You got the golden seal, all it will do. You got the poke root balancing out, increasing the immune system, and then you got the cayenne opening everything up and putting it into the system and letting all the toxins out. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's get to the next formulation. It's fun to describe herbal formulations because nobody does. Where am I? Up. Okay. There it is. Tincture formulations. What's the next one? Because there are a lot of tincture formulations. Describing tincture formulations. Now that's an antibiotic. So now here's an antibiotic formula without the golden seal. Because some people say, I don't want golden seal. It's okay. So I made it without golden seal. And the one without golden seal, it's made with echinacea and poke root and cayenne and no golden seal. Because some people don't want the berberine. All right. And what is the next? What is the next one? Because there's one more. And tincture formulations. And the one below that is, and we're on the website herbalhealthreview.com. We've clicked on herbal descriptions, and we're looking at my book with the describing all of these herbs and why I put these formulas together, and which one and what I used, and what the herbs are in each formula. So there's one other formula that's an antibiotic formula without poke root. Some people say they don't want golden seal, so I made it without golden seal. Some people said they want it without poke root, so I made it without poke root. Still works pretty good, either way. Okay, and we're going our way here. So here is the formula that has echinacea and golden seal root and no poke root and just cayenne, just echinacea, golden seal, and cayenne. So you can get this formulation any way that you want it. And the one that is echinacea, golden seal, no poke root is number 1021. Anyway, all of these are up on betterhealthherbs.com. Let's get back over here and let's get to the next formulation. Right, I'm almost there. And the next formula in tincture formulations is, oh, there's, is an, oh, I can't do that. It's an antiviral formula. According to people that think they know what they're talking about, but they don't. There's no such thing as an antiviral formula. So no sense of me talking about herbs that are supportive against viruses, because that would probably get me banned. I don't want to do that. Let's talk about an anxiety formula, okay? Can't ban me for that. Maybe they could if they want to. They do, which they do. All right, let's look at an anxiety, because a lot of people have anxiety. The reason they have anxiety is because they realize what's going on. That's why they have anxiety. And so I put together a formulation to help with anxiety. And it's a long chain formulation. It's got several herbs in it: valerian root, mistletoe, skullcap, hops, passion flower, kava root, cramp bark, ginger, cayenne, lobelia, and red clover, and sarsaparilla, and catnip. Okay. And so let's take a look at the first herb, valerian root. Why is valerian root in a formulation that helps people and supports people who have anxiety? It's a food that is used throughout Europe. It's the favorite, a sedative herb in Europe, has been used for centuries for anxiety and nervousness. Let's take a look at why. Okay, the benefits of valerian. Now, okay, let's take a look at the valerian root. Has been used medicinally since the times of early Greece and Rome. Historically, valerian was used to treat insomnia, migraine back in the early days. This is what they used. That was their medicine back in Greece and Rome. And what they used it for was insomnia, migraine, fatigue, stomach cramps. But today, valerian is promoted for insomnia, to be used when there's a supportive food needed for anxiety, depression, menstrual syndrome, PMS, menopause symptoms, and headaches are some of the main uses of valerian root today. Now, is it okay to take valerian root every day? Well, many studies have found valerian root to be a safe, natural sleep aid. Researchers have found taking valerian root regularly for up to 28 days doesn't cause problems for most adults. People taking sedatives or other anti-anxiety or sleep medications should avoid valerian root. In other words, don't try to take your drugs and a valerian root, they may interact. And let's take one or the other. But valerian root, it really does work. It's been used, like it says, since decades and thousands of years ago, throughout Europe. And scientists aren't sure how valerian works, but scientists believe valerian increases the amount of chemical called gamma aminobutyric acid, GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. It increases this in the brain. And the GABA, which is an amino acid, helps regulate nerve cells and has a calming effect on anxiety. And you can get GABA, the amino acid, all by itself. And it's harmless. You can take 2 or 3 tablets of it at a time. All it's going to do is act as a sedative, and to help to regulate nerve cells and have a calming effect. So, valerian root. Who should not take valerian root? Well, valerian should not be safe, or valerian root may not be safe if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, and it has not been evaluated to determine if it's safe for children under 3 years old. If you have liver disease, avoid taking valerian. And because valerian can make you drowsy, but it doesn't say why you should avoid it. And because valerian can make you drowsy, avoid driving or operating dangerous machinery after taking it. Okay. So they don't know. All I can tell you is 60 years later of using valerian root, and people have never told me they had any problem at all with valerian root. So my experience is there's never been a problem with valerian root. Is valerian better than melatonin to help you sleep? Melatonin can be helpful for jet lag, helping your brain adjust to the new time zone. Valerian root has been shown to help reduce sleep latency and help you get to sleep faster. Both melatonin and valerian are safe as long as you keep the dosage relatively low. but should be avoided when pregnant or breastfeeding. What are the negative effects of valerian? The side effects of valerian root include those who would be allergic to it, would have a headache, stomach upset, mental dullness, excitability, uneasiness, heart disturbances, and even insomnia in very few people. A few people feel drowsy in the morning still after taking the valerian, especially if they're taking high doses. And some people experience dry mouth or vivid dreams if they're very sensitive to valerian root. Other than that, only a small number of cases of liver injury attributed to valerian have been published. There have been no instances of chronic hepatitis, cirrhosis, or vanishing bile duct syndrome attributed to the use of valerian root, and no convincing case of acute liver failure. That study as of April 5, 2020. So we don't really find a negative problem with valerian root, but we're always careful with any food because some people are allergic to strange things or different things. So we always start, whatever we're using, any herb or any food, always start with a little bit of it and make sure that it agrees with you and that there's no problem. Then you can increase the dosage slowly to either you like it or you don't like it. It works or it doesn't work. How long does it take valerian to work? Well, some people will feel effects of valerian root very quickly. Many note that the herb works best when you take it for a week or two. Then your body really kind of gets sensitive to it. However, research has not fully explored the long-term effects of valerian. No kidding. Does valerian root boost serotonin? Well, valerian may cause vivid dreams because it contains an essential oil and compounds called iridoid glycosides. These iridoid glycosides, these compounds stimulate opioid receptors and serotonin production in your brain, producing relaxing and antidepressive effects. So, no, it does not increase your serotonin. Does valerian get rid of anxiety? Studies have indicated that valerian is effective in treating anxiety and depression in menopausal women. Valerian is a safe herbal remedy and valerian has also shown efficacy with few or no adverse effects when used correctly and following expert recommendations. So anyway, valerian, you had to find out about valerian, one of the greatest sedatives that has been used for thousands of years. Okay, now let's get back. The other herb in here is mistletoe. And why would mistletoe be used for anxiety and depression along with valerian root? Let's find out. Mistletoe. The benefits of mistletoe. All right. All right. Mistletoe has been used for hundreds of years also to treat medical conditions such as epilepsy and asthma. This is what it was used for historically and traditionally hundreds of years ago. They used it for epilepsy, asthma, hypertension, headaches, menopausal symptoms, infertility, dermatitis, arthritis, and rheumatism. Mistletoe extracts are one of the most widely studied complementary and alternative medicines therapies for cancer, according to a June 21, 2023 study by the National Cancer Institute.gov. I'll read it again. The National Cancer Institute.gov says it is that mistletoe is used for epilepsy, asthma, hypertension, headaches, menopausal symptoms, infertility, dermatitis, arthritis, and rheumatism. And the National Cancer Institute also says that mistletoe extracts are one of the most widely studied complementary and alternative medicine therapies for cancer. So much for the National Cancer Institute. So how does European mistletoe affect the body? European mistletoe can cause vomiting, diarrhea, cramping, and other side effects. Short-term frequent use of European mistletoe might cause liver damage. Injecting European mistletoe beneath the skin can cause fever, chills, allergic reactions, and other side effects, according to a June 11, 2021 study. That's how it affects the body. What's it used for? Well, European mistletoe has been used for centuries in traditional medicine for a variety of symptoms, which we already stated. Does European mistletoe lower blood pressure? Mistletoe's other uses have been less rigorously studied, primarily preliminary trials carried out using oral mistletoe have found it can reduce the symptoms of high blood pressure, particularly headaches and dizziness. However, mistletoe has a small, if any, effect on actually lowering blood pressure, according to Peace Health. What is medical? Let's see. What cancers does mistletoe treat? They're using mistletoe according to this information from Integrative Medicine, mskcc.org. They're telling us here that they've got studies that support the use of mistletoe to improve and the symptoms and the quality of life and reduce chemotherapy and radiotherapy side effects, including pancreatic, lung, colorectal, and breast cancers, according to a study, June 19th, 2023. So this is interesting information from credible sources. that these do have value and probably need more study, in those areas. But that's what they're used for, and that's why it's used for anxiety and depression, because it complements sedative herbs like valerian. Okay, and they've found that mistletoe may support cardiovascular health, and here's a study on African mistletoe, Ferruginous, Loranthus, Macranthus, may help manage hypertension and gastrointestinal complaints. These types may lower the risk for blood vessel conditions, including high blood pressure and atherosclerosis, thickening of the hardening of the arteries. Okay, so it has a lot of uses in a lot of different areas, but it's complementary along with herbs for anxiety. And let's take one more look. According to mistletoe, has been used in medicine for thousands of years for a variety of conditions, including integrative cancer care, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, osteoarthritis, for relieving pain and improving mobility. So mistletoe has a lot of value here when we're using it for anxiety and depression. And you combine valerian root with mistletoe, you have a powerhouse of herbs to start with. Then when you combine that with skullcap is another nervine herb, and skullcap, okay, SKULLCAP, skullcap benefits. Now we're talking about an herb that has been used for another herb that's been used for more than 200 years as a mild relaxant and as a therapy for anxiety, nervous tension, and convulsions. Studies show American skullcap has significant antioxidant effects and may help protect against neurological disorders such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, anxiety, and depression. What does skullcap do for the body? Skullcap was used formerly for nervous disorders, including hysteria, nervous tension, epilepsy, and chorea. It is now used largely as a sedative and a sleeping pill, often in combination with other herbs such as valerian. That's a study in March 2020. So that's why we're combining skullcap. It's a very safe herb, and it's a sedative herb, and it's complementing the valerian and the mistletoe and the skullcap. Then you add hops, and hops will make you sleepy. The benefit of hops, there we go, HOPS. So now we're combining these all together in a balancing form. And hops has been attributed to anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial properties, as well as diuretic, digestive, sedative, progestogenic properties, even being considered a cure. It's being considered as a cure for insomnia. Hops. For this wide range of health benefits, it is regarded as a life-prolonging plant. Is drinking hops good for you? Hops may contain certain substances that may be beneficial for various health conditions. However, hops are not a vital nutrient required by your body. So there are no recommendations when it comes to food versus supplemental sources. A study February 16, 2023. What does hops do to the brain? The mechanism of the action of the resin of hops consists of increasing the activity of neurotransmitter Y immunodieteric GABA, again, inhibiting the central nervous system, CNS, with the objectives to analyze in an experimental model of diurnal animal the sedative effect of hops, a component of beer, on the active rest rhythm. They did a study on that. And it has a sedative effect. What is the main purpose of hops? Hops help to keep beer fresher longer. They help beer retain its head of foam, a key component of beer's aroma and flavor, and of course, add hoppy to aroma, flavor, and bitterness. Hops belong to the Cannabinaceae family, which also happens to include cannabis, hemp, marijuana. It's in the same family. Hops is in the same family as cannabis. Who should avoid hops? People who have conditions that are sensitive to estrogen should use caution when taking hops. Some of these conditions include breast cancer, endometriosis, or breast cancer and endometriosis. Surgery. Hops might cause too much sleepiness when combined with anesthesia and other medications during and after surgical procedures. So you got to be careful combining hops with, with anesthetic drugs. It could be, could be very overpoweringly making you sleepy. But anyway, hops is safe, been around for a long, long time. It's an herb that hops is an important agricultural plant that has been used to flavor beer for centuries. It has been claimed to have a sedative properties and to be useful for treatment for anxiety and insomnia. Hops have not been implicated in causing serum enzyme elevations or clinically apparent liver injury. This study, March 30th, 2018. So it appears to be very safe. So now we have a formulation for anxiety and depression that has valerian, mistletoe, skullcap, hops. We add one more herb called passion flower, which is a very mild sedative that doesn't make you sleepy, but it relaxes you. That's the only herb that you can take during the daytime to act as very calming and be a sedative, but won't make you sleepy, is passion flower. That's why passion flower is in there, because it's a very, very mild sedative. Very good for children, for the elderly, anybody who wants to just to mellow out. Kava kava, on the other hand, is such a powerful sedative that it works on the nervous system. And the kava kava, Gary, who joins us here, was with us last week, isn't with us this week, but it probably Gary was telling me one time that he's my friend, my ex son-in-law, and a nice guy. But Gary was telling me that he's always helping people move. Gary's one of these nice guys. You got to move, you call Gary, he helps you move. And he's always helping people move. And he came in one time, he said, man, I just been helping these folks move all day long. He said, I can't even lift my arms anymore. My arms are so sore, I can't lift them. What should I do? I said, come here. And I took a bottle of kava kava and I put a squirt right in his mouth, under his tongue. And I said, check in with me in about 5 minutes. Checked in with him in about 5 minutes. I said, how's your arms? He said, I can't feel my arms anymore. That's how powerful kava kava is. It will cause a numbness to your extremities. So you have to be careful with kava kava because it's powerful. But if you want something to really, really, and kava kava is hard on the liver, so you don't take kava kava a lot for a long time. So, but it's in there in a small dose, and in a small dose, it's totally safe. Combined with all these other herbs, I'm not worried about it and never had a problem with it because I've got a small dose, and it's potentiating all the other herbs, and it's numbing things out a little bit. Then, with anxiety and depression, we need something like cramp bark, because cramp bark is going to reduce any cramping, and it's going to be very relaxing to the muscles. Ginger will do the same type of thing. Ginger is in there because it's very soothing to the digestive system, and is so relaxing that it helps to get rid of nausea. And there's a little cayenne in there to warm things up and let all those herbs in there. And there's lobelia in there because it's a sedative herb that has a special ability. Lobelia has the special ability to tell all the other herbs to go and be sedatives and do their job, and helps them go there and do their job. Lobelia does that. I call it the general. I call it the general herb because it's in charge of taking all the other herbs where they're supposed to go and makes them go to work and do their job. Lobelia, and it's a sedative. Red clover blossoms, now that is a very, very special herb. Let's take a look at red clover blossoms. We got to talk about that a little bit better. Red clover blossoms, that's one of the greatest herbs that you'll find for a whole lot of different reasons. So let's talk about red clover blossoms. Red clover blossoms. Okay. Benefits. Modern scientific tests have shown that red clover contains isoflavones. Isoflavones are plant-based chemicals that produce estrogen-like effects in the body. Now, these isoflavones have shown potential in the treatment of several conditions associated with menopause, such as hot flashes, cardiovascular health, and osteoporosis. It's an incredible herb. It's very soothing and relaxing to the muscles. So what is it good for? Historically, red clover was used for asthma, whooping cough. It's been used as a a food when there is cancer to support cancer, as a food for gout. This is the time that they've used red clover blossoms. Today, the extracts, that's when it's been used historically. Today, the extracts from red clover are most often promoted for menopause symptoms, high cholesterol levels, or osteoporosis. So that's when it's used mostly. So who should not take red clover? Though generally recognized as safe, red clover has minor estrogenic properties and should be avoided by those who are pregnant or breastfeeding, as well as people with bleeding disorders or who take hormone replacement therapy or other medications. What red clover is doing, it's being a phyto plant estrogen. In other words, the estrogens are very powerful and they cause all kinds of side effects in your body, your own estrogens. And when you use these phytoestrogens, it's a softer plant estrogen, and then there's no side effect. And the harmful estrogens can't go in and cause trouble and make you feel terrible and give you side effects. So that's what a plant estrogen will do. It will stop the hard estrogens, your natural estrogens, which are too powerful. It blocks them, and you're using soft plant estrogens, and that's why they're so valuable with menopause and hormonal imbalances. So that's one of the great things about that, and it's a muscle relaxant. So that's why it's great in an anxiety formula. Last one, besides catnip. Catnip's in there because it relaxes your stomach. Catnip is wonderful for relaxing the stomach. And sarsaparilla is a very unusual herb. Sarsaparilla. That herb will take someone who's holding on to a problem and won't let go of it. It will help them let go of a problem. I don't know how it does it, but it works that way. Sarsaparilla works to help you get rid of anxiety and depression that you can't get rid of. Sarsaparilla seems to have an ability to let it go, let it move on. And that's incredible. Let's see what it says about that right quickly. Sarsaparilla, because that's what I found that it does that is totally different than anything I've ever found. But that's what it does. It helps you get rid of anxiety and depression that you can't get rid of. I don't know how it does it, but it does it. Let's take a look. Okay. Red clover. No, that's not it. It's not what I want. I want sarsaparilla. Benefits. Here we go. Okay. Sarsaparilla is an antibacterial and it's anti-inflammatory. And its antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties of sarsaparilla is an effective natural remedy for eczema, acne, psoriasis, bites, minor wounds, and rashes. Sarsaparilla, Sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla plant is also used in homeopathic treatment for skin problems such as itchiness and dry skin. And Come on. It's not going to let me see it. The most common use of sarsaparilla in a dietary supplement is to help manage the levels of toxins in the blood. It is also used to support the immune system and regulate hormones. But that's basically it. We've come to the top of the hour, and I want to thank you for joining us here on Discoveries in Health. And let's get over here and get a closing prayer. And then let's conclude this broadcast. Thank you for joining us. Let's get back to Ephesians 6:10-18. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. We're wrestling against it. Wherefore, we take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, having your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, and wherewith ye shall be able to quench the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication and spirit, watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. In Jesus Christ's name, we pray. We pray, we come in Jesus Christ's name, praising, worshiping, and thanking the Most High God, and receiving his complete, continuous, endless, and limitless blessing. Thank you, Heavenly Father, as we receive your complete, continuous, endless, and limitless blessing for the glory and for the victory of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus Christ's name, all praises to the Most High God. We receive. So be it. All praises to the Most High God. Brothers and sisters, all praises to the Most High God. All praises to the Most High God, brothers and sisters.
Up to the Most High God. Yes,